Welcome to the Guest Lounge on the Willie J Show on Gospel City 24/7. Be entertained, informed, and edified on Saturday morning's talk radio show, the Willie J Show on Gospel City 24/7. And now, and now, and now, with today's guest, here is the man himself, Mr. Willie J.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the guest lounge in the Willie J Show right here on Gospel City 24/7. And as is usual, this time on a Saturday morning, we have a very special guest inside the lounge to chit chat with you. And today I have the gentleman, Ian alias IT Ellis, and he's here to share with us about his life, and I'm sure without any effort he's going to make you laugh somewhere along the line. So welcome to the show, Ian.
Thank you very much, Willie J. Thank you for having me on Gospel City 24/7.
Yes, man, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure to have you here. And we are going to be talking about you and your work and your ministry and all of that, so that our listeners can get to know you a bit better.
Yes, most definitely. Yes. I'm always prepared to share about my life, especially now.
Okay, wonderful. So let's start from the beginning. Where in Jamaica are you from, and how was life like for you as a child growing up in Jamaica?
Well, I was born under the clock, so to speak. We Jamaicans, if you were born in Kingston, you said under the clock. And, if it's outside of Kingston, you say otherwise.
Yeah.
So I'm Kingston born, bred, come from that famous or perhaps infamous community of Trenchtown. Marley would sing, "Say we come from Trenchtown." And one of those would sing the same. So
Okay.
that's where I was born.
Yes.
And I grew up. Yes. And of course I am the eighth child of my mother and the last child. Jamaicans would call it the wash belly.
Oh yes,
You know?
yes.
So I grew up. I was schooled in Kingston, and spent most of my life in Kingston until as it is now, I reside in St. Catherine.
Okay. Yes, very interesting. So what sort of pranks were you up to as a child? Were you a good behaving child or the typical boy?
Well, I would have to say that I was well behaved because I didn't have a choice. Because being the last child, so yeah, I had older siblings who would participate in disciplining. Especially, I have a brother who I followed. He was the one who would ensure that I don't play or stay out on the street too late. Because in the garrison communities, you want to be off the street at certain times.
Yes.
So, along with my mother, he would and other siblings would participate in the discipline. So I didn't get a chance to be, to be a very rude child. I was a very active child. Love sports, love running.
Yes.
I played football. As early as under 14. I played in competitive football under 14. I made the at the time the minor league team, which was an under 16 competition. So I was a very active child, physically active, and and of course I was very interested in academia and academics. So
Okay. Yes. So you grew up in Trenchtown. When you got to high school, what were the thoughts going through your mind career-wise?
Oh,
Um,
so getting to high school was like such an achievement for me. Being the last of it, but the first to get to high school. My mother. People would often hear me share the story about my mother and how she behaved when I was successful at the then common entrance examination. So I
yes.
joke and say it's the GSAT, because the common entrance kind of date me. But she was very excited. When I passed, I remember she jumping up and down, screaming, telling the entire Third Street. I live on Third Street in Trenchtown. That me win the prize, me win the prize.
Yes.
She didn't say our son passed and said she won the prize. Me win the prize, and
Oh
she jumped
boy.
up. And
Yes.
and that time, when you pass the common entrance exams, your name would come in the newspaper.
Yes.
So walked around with the newspaper for weeks upon top of weeks, and the paper was like crushed, showing everybody my name in it. So it was a big achievement for me to qualify to go to high school, because my uh, colleagues or peers, I should say, at that time,
Mhm.
they would go to the schools in the community.
Yes.
So
Yes.
to get to a school at St. George's College at the time
Wow. Yes.
was a major achievement, because at that time you really had youth from the inner city who get a chance to go to a high school of any repute in the country. So it was a major thing for me. So when I went to the high school, I went with that, coming from St. Aloysius Primary,
Yes.
excitement, nerves, because I was entering into high school for the first time. So it was really the beginning of an exciting journey. Perhaps the most memorable part, I would say, of my the adolescent years are always memorable for us.
Yes. Yes. And it's during that time that most persons start thinking seriously about career. What was
Right.
going through your mind during those preparatory years?
Yeah. Honestly, I would say to people that my interest was in broadcasting. I wanted to be a radio broadcaster. When we had careers day at school, I would listen to the presentations from people from RGR and those things. So much so when I went home, I would have my own radio show. I would
Wow.
put on tape recorder, record my voice,
Yes.
and then I would play the voices of other people. So I would interview myself playing another voice. You know,
Okay.
Later on, that became an integral part of my comedy, because I really love impersonation.
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. So that was that. So it's interesting that was my career interest while growing up. A radio announcer. You know, there was a fleeting time when I thought about being a lawyer, but I wanted
Okay.
to be
Yes.
in that field. Journalism.
Yes.
I
Yes.
actually applied to a couple of radio stations when I was exiting high school, because that was where my interest was.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So, and I think I hear it in you, I think I hear the radio in you.
Whoa, I don't know
Yes,
if I.
man. I
Yeah.
hear it in you. So, and I think it really worked out in the end, because having a
Yes.
love
Yes.
for radio would help you greatly in the comedy area, because you would be involved in radio, so you would know how to approach it,
Right.
have an idea how to approach it. Yes.
That is so true. And what I learned and is that the is a radio personality is the thing. You have to have a personality that would connect, with people, that would be engaging and entertaining, as well as
Yes.
so because people can't see you, so when you're on the radio, you can't be seen. So your voice and inflection, all that need to be particularly interesting, and your overall personality. So perhaps my relationship with humor would come across
Yes.
um, if I had taken a radio show.
Yes, indeed, indeed. So you wanted to be a radio personality, a disc jockey. How on earth did you end up making people laugh?
For first thing, I'm from a entertainment family, persons, the more mature individuals would know Alton Ellis, who is my
Yes.
father's brother, my uncle. My aunt Hortense Ellis was one of the
Yes.
first females to record her voice. And myself, my brother Blacker Ellis, who is
Yes.
also a
Uh-huh.
comedian, we got involved. And I said my earliest influences came from Blacker. He used to perform in a duo called Bello and Blacker.
Yes, I
And
remember.
myself and Fanska would see them, and you were inspired and influenced by them initially when we began our career together. So I would have to say that is the foundation of my interest in the arts. That I'm from an entertainment family, so it would have to be there somewhere somehow. I would end up, whether it's be if I go into journalism on the radio, I would be in the entertainment industry in one aspect of it or another.
Okay.
Yes.
You started out as a comedian, and how did it work out at first when you were just getting into it?
Wow, you see, the art form of comedy is a very challenging one, especially stand-up comedy, because you're on the stage with a microphone in front of people and you are saying, "I am going to make you laugh."
Yes.
To produce laughter is really a challenge. I mean, a singer can sing a song on every show, or a musician, or what we call a DJ in Jamaica. But when you are doing stand-up comedy, you're as good as your last show, and you're as good as original as you can be, and as creative as you can be. And creative meaning to create your own stories, your own bits and pieces of humor,
Yes.
to write your own material. That's what makes a great stand-up comic. So it was a big challenge to start a career, especially in a country where we didn't have a lot of stand-up comics. It wasn't a thing. People were into theater, people were into music,
Yes.
musicians, but not necessarily stand-up comedy. It wasn't a popular art form in Jamaica. There are a few well-known ones, but not as popular as the other art forms. So it was really a challenge for us. But luckily, as I said, I was influenced by Bella and Blacker, so we could see them, and we would take our inspiration from them.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. And along the line now, you turned out, um, or I should say, turn up one day and said, "I'm a different man."
Yes,
How
yes,
did
yes,
that
yes,
get
yes,
to happen?
yes, yes. It's a part of my story and journey is that on that same football field that I played minor league in Boystown, myself and Franska was another friend, Mark, who is now affectionately called Pastor Mark. Is Reverend Linval Earl Lewis.
Yes.
He and I, we all played football at the time, so we were friends from then. So when I and we were living in the same community. We left Trenchtown, we were both living in St. Catherine in Portmore.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I would visit the church every now and again, on
Yes.
a first Sunday of the year or Easter Sunday, but it would be about that, just visiting with my family. So I would have to say that over the years visiting church, I would have heard several messages, and I have to now say it's a move of God when on December 2015 I submitted to those messages from a particular message that was delivered on that night called "No linger, do not linger."
Yes.
Don't procrastinate, don't stick around anymore. And it was a story he shared about growing up in Trenchtown, where his life was endangered because of where he was and what he was doing at the time. So if he had lingered in a particular place, he probably would have been shot
Yes.
dead,
Uh-huh.
And I think it connected with me in a way. So it was a message titled "No linger, do not linger, don't procrastinate," delivered by my childhood friend and pastor, Reverend Linval Earl Lewis, that night. That infamous, I wouldn't say infamous, that pivotal point in my life on December 31st, 2015. It was a watch night service. Usually we go to watch night service because
Yes.
we want to ring in the new year a particular kind of way, but this night was different, This night I really submitted in a way. And I said submitted because we would go to altar calls, myself and family, and oftentimes when the pastor is beckoning us to come to the altar, my wife would be beside me to say, you know, go up there. And I say, you not go up there. She said, no, you forgot up there. I said, no. Why you not go up there? So we be down there arguing about who should go up there. Nobody would hear us, you know.
Yes, yes.
Until one day, I went up there that particular day, and I've not turned back since. That's been a transforming experience for me, because before I got saved, I was a rebellious kind of person. You know, I'm caught up in my career, you know, disrespectful to my marriage in a number of ways. And I now I know and look back, I realize that I would have to be aligned to the purpose of God to really become the kind of father I ought to be to my daughters, you know, to become the kind of model as a man for them, particularly to be an influence or to inspire them to say, this is an example of a man who submits to God, who loves God, you know, because that's the standard for me now. My daughter would ask me, what's a good quality to find in a man? I said, well, first of all, he must love God. And everything else comes after that. You know what I mean? Yes, of course, you need to be decent and ambitious and, you know, all those wonderful things. But first, he must love God. I would have been in a position to say that before now. So I have to say it's a move of God. And the thing is, they were young in their adolescent years when I got saved. So it was an important point, an important time for them too, you know. So I'm really thankful to God for that, you know. So that was really where I started and how I come to know Christ. And I have changed. I have become a better husband for my wife, you know.
Yes.
You know, usually I tell you, when we as men recognize that Christ is our head, then we can really lead the charge in our households, you know, really be the head of our house, you know. And it has changed me to become a better man. I used to embarrass my wife sometimes when we in quarrels and cursing. People would next to wonder if it was really me, because I mean, at the time I was famous on TV. People say, it can't be the same IT. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm really giving God thanks to transform that person, because my wife was reminding me that you remember that time, you remember when how you used to be, and it that joy in my heart to hear her say, remember how you used to be.
Yes. It
clearly
says that's not how you are now.
Right,
when she has to say, remember.
How you used to be, yes. You know what I mean? I really give God thanks for that, you know. How he has changed me. And it has affected, or I would say modified or changed my relationship in entertainment, because luckily for me, I am a family brand. So I would do shows for a family setting, whether TV or live.
Yes.
So I didn't have to change much of my content in humor. But it changed because I couldn't go some places and do certain shows. I remember I used to do a performance at Reggae Sumfest every year at a particular booth where, you know, there would be a lot of drinking and women skimpily clad, and when I got there that year, I couldn't go that year, and people were like, no man, why not come, man? And I said, no, I don't think I'd be able to hold my ground in that kind of environment, you know. And especially in that very first year, as the Bible tells us, you know, we're babes in the word, you know, you know, I have to reach a certain level of maturity, and then I have to really seek God to find out if that would be the place for me. So, you know, those things change. I have to revisit what I'm doing, where I'm doing it now. Before, I wouldn't think about that. I would just go and perform anywhere, you know, where I was booked, you know.
Yes.
So that has changed. But, you know, I would have to say I'm blessed to be able to carry on the career still, and still be able to make people laugh and still recognize that laughter, and the word of God say, a merry heart doeth good like medicine.
Yes.
And a broken spirit dry at the bone. So I always rest in that Proverbs 17:22 text to say, you know, it's an important role to really bring joy and laugh with the persons, you know.
Yes.
So that's really been an experience for me to be transformed by the power and the saving power of Jesus Christ, you know.
Yes, indeed. And so many times persons think that when you get saved, you have to necessarily stop what you're doing and find
Right, right,
another way
right,
of life, but it's not
right,
necessarily so.
right,
Because we need Christian persons in all the areas except those that
right.
are,
Yes,
really.
illegally. You can't have a Christian scammer.
No.
Yeah,
No, you can't have
yes,
anybody saying, I
yeah,
scam you in the name of
yeah,
the.
yeah. No, no, no. You cannot,
Yes,
no.
but
Yeah,
in the legitimate careers, if we might use
yeah,
that term, yes, we need
yes, yeah,
Christian persons in them to show the
yeah.
way.
Right, right, right. I know we are only challenged when, because I tell you some of the people that I today are watching, they're listening to this to hear the change, to see the change, and some of the people that I must try and be preoccupied with lifestyle evangelism. I mean, I should live the life to reflect
Yes,
the life of Christ want me to be. Even the word of God said, let your light so shine that others will see good works and come and glorify the Lord. So I realize the important part of how we live, to show it. The thing about it, if I was a footballer, a professional footballer, and I got saved, nobody would expect me to be a different footballer on the field. I would still be able to score goals, and
yes,
I'm a footballer.
yes,
But when you're in the entertainment field now, your content has to change. So in Jamaica, dancehall DJs who would do raunchy lyrics and songs and would use vulgarity in it. We have to change that aspect of their performance and more make it more gospel centric or more wholesome and family.
yes.
So that change we as entertainers would have to go through
Yes,
when we accept Christ.
yes. People have this notion that the crowd loves the dirty language, the dirty lyrics, etc. When you got saved and made your changes, did it affect your following in any great way?
Well, I don't know that it did, to because I'd have to say I survived and is surviving the change. Of course, the demand would be different because some people will not come for certain shows again.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And over time, it has created some kind of separation between myself and Fancy Cat because he is not saved.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So we perform on different stages now. I'd be called to host the gospel concerts now,
Yes.
here and abroad, and so that's a change that I would experience, and that will affect us, I would say, affect the us continuing forward, because I know I learned that only the Holy Spirit of God can move on the hearts of men,
Yes.
and cause them to really accept Christ,
Yes. Yes.
because I'm still waiting on Him to do that, But I
Yes,
have to just
indeed.
pray and just trust God, and see what God wants to do.
Yes.
But it definitely affected the career and create change in the demand
Yes.
and where we perform and how after we be. So the truth, we made the point before that yes, you can still maintain your career if you tweak some of the things that you do, um, and still keep the talent that you are blessed with.
Yes.
Because if I'm blessed with a particular talent, it would have been a God-given talent, and
Yes,
therefore I
indeed.
have to find ways to honor God with the same talent.
Yes.
But it was really a transition for me because I am very passionate about anything that I do. If I'm going into production, whether it be television or a live show, and I wear multiple hats, so I'll be the producer behind the scenes, and I would be the performer on the stage in front of the screen,
Okay,
and I
so
go
you're
in
a
hard. So,
flexible man.
right, so I'm that kind of multifaceted individual. But the
Yes.
truth is, when I got saved, the same passion came forth in my walk with Christ. So much so that it caused my friends at the beginning to kind of shun me. People would
Okay.
want
Yes.
to. When, when I come into their space, they say, "Boy, I tell you, come talk about God now, so we can't talk about God thing."
Yes.
So it was a tough time for me because even my family members say, "Boy, I think cannot argue about God. We can talk about something else."
Yes.
And people say, "Oh, because him just get saved, my just passion." I used to reject that statement. That people say, "Because I'm just get saved," you know what I mean? Because I never want to ever lose the
A
passion. But
passion. Yes.
I pray to God that the Father God help me, download the kind of wisdom that's necessary for me to operate, to share you in a way that people want to hear. As I watch Christ minister in the agrarian culture, he would talk to them in parables, in a way that they could understand,
Yes.
so it will be relatable for them. So I was praying to do that because I don't want to be living a life where my colleagues don't want to hear me because I am not able to discuss anything but God. So, but I didn't want to please them
No.
and not please God.
Yes.
So that was a challenge for me. I remember a friend of mine said, I like what you are now. You're not making us be intimidated by your presence anymore. And I was saying to myself, I wonder if no, I want to make sure that they know that I am who I am in Christ still, and even more so.
Yes.
But maybe I am going about my evangelism in a different way because I want to engage them.
Yes.
I don't want them to feel like, they
You're
can't have a
pushing it on
conversation.
them. Yes.
Right,
Yes.
So it has really been and still is an interesting, life-changing experience to serve God in my career.
Yes. Yes. Tell me now. Have you ever? I'm sort of shifting a little bit. Have you ever been on stage and given a joke and no one laughed? How did you deal with that?
Oh yeah, man, that's tough. Man. That's always the
Yes.
occupational hazard of a comedian. You never want to go out there and what we would say bomb, or fail to create laughter. Yeah, man. I remember performing on a stage once, and it was like a buffet at dinner, and these were business people, and they weren't paying attention. So we would deliver a joke, and the place was quiet. I'm like, whoa, they are not getting it at all. And
Yeah.
the thing about it, we bring a certain level of excitement in our performances, whether we begin with music and dance and things. So we always try to create attention and attract and get people to watch us, intrigue people to want to be
Yes.
entertained by us.
It's not just
So,
about talking. You take a
No, right.
what would you call it now? Multi
Multi approach,
Yes,
you use different
yes.
skill sets, to entertain. So, we have had that experience, I have to say, really though, because, luckily I have been able to connect for the most part. Because the truth is that if you are failing at delivering humor, then you can't have a career in comedy,
Yes, yes.
It would be that people would say that he's not good. So you have had to work on the craft, and still is working on the craft. When people hear that I still am a learner, they say, no, man, you have been doing this too long to say that. But you have to continue trying to learn. Especially now, in the COVID-19 pandemic, I was adjusting to performing on a camera, on a
Wow.
phone, on the Zoom platform, and
Yes.
Teams, on Facebook. It was a different thing because when we would have been booked now, we're not going in anymore. You're sending a link to us, you have to come on screen and be funny.
Yes, and
That was a
feedback is
challenge.
limited in that situation.
Absolutely. Very, very limited feedback. So we have no idea what people are saying, if they are yawning or, if they are
Yes.
tuned in or they are tuned out. It's a real challenge. But we have had to, I have had to adapt to that, and to be adept at adapting to that, daily.
Yes.
Just this week, I did a show for a company, and they called me into the company. So I thought I was going in front of the staff. When I reached, it was minimal staff in front of me, and most of them were online all over the place. I'm saying, well, here I go again. Luckily, I have been practicing to doing that, so
Yes.
and that's not the easiest thing to do. It's very, very hard to perform comedy to somebody electronically, and you don't know what the response is.
Yes, yes, yes. Very true, very true. Yes. So tell us what is in the immediate or however long future that you can think of for IT.
Well, I just completed a Father's Day show called Get the Misfits which is a concept that I've been working on since 2019, and it's the second stage. It was interrupted because of the pandemic, and I'm really going forward with that concept. There are some other places that we need to showcase. It was in Kingston. Want to take it out of town, and of course, I have a TV sitcom I began in 2019 called Bigger Boss, to follow the IT and Fancy Cat show, which I was the executive producer for, along with my brother, who was the main writer, along with Fancy Cat, who was another principal actor in it. And my thing is, I'm looking forward to know that the entertainment industry and the protocols are beginning to become relaxed. Looking forward to restart or to restore a level of activity in television productions and our live events. So, I'm looking forward to our end of year live events, of course. Christmas Comedy Cook-Up. Christmas Comedy Cook-Up is an event that has been held for the last 17 years, except last year.
Okay, yes. Okay, so there are great things in the pipeline, some of it flowing out already. Yes.
Most definitely. And listen, this is your Gospel City 24/7 is the first place to hear this. I was just completed shooting a brand new TV show, of which I'm the host, called Kids Talk Anything and Everything.
Okay.
And I'm making that announcement here. So when you play this, it's the first time anybody would hear about it. So look at that look out for that on their TV set soon.
Yes.
Kids Talk Anything. I'm co-host with Sharon DeFerl and Glenn Titus Campbell, a popular theatre actor in Jamaica.
Okay. Well, very interesting. I know my listeners will be excited to hear that. Yes. And you spoke about the IT and Fancy Cat show. When I think of that show, phrase or a catchphrase from it came to mind. Well, I won't say it's the most popular, but I know it had Jamaica by storm for a few weeks, if not longer. Yes. And the phrase is, "Lock it back."
Yes, Lock it back, yes. Really, it's very, very, very popular. Even it was used even during the pandemic when the government would put curfew or open up back certain spaces, and people would say "lock it back," and they would show the GIF from the show. So, yeah, man, very, very popular skit by Rose and Rose. Yes, "Lock it back."
Yes, man. Well, it's so good talking to you, IT. My brother Ian Ellis, yes, and
yes.
We look forward to keeping in touch with you and hearing more about the different ventures as you bring them to pass.
Yes, yeah, man. So continue to pray me up, and I continue to produce content for the entertainment of families.
Yes, indeed. Yes. All right.
Bless all the listeners.
Yes, man. Thank you on their behalf. 24/7 day and night. 24/7 sleeping or awake. Gospel City. 24/7.